Howdy there, YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to be an Arc Sorcerer. This is Arc and this is Spark. And the point of today's video is to get you all the way from, if you've never played PoE, through the entire playthrough to the end game. Also to understand what your talent tree is doing and how you can change it and alter it to benefit in your own playstyle as well. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I'll definitely try to help understand as much as I can. The first thing that we're going to start off with to get right into it is you will start with Spark. This is the first one you would want to start with. And the first support gem I would recommend is Pierce. Now what Spark does is it shoots out multiple projectiles. So you see I'm shooting 12 projectiles. And the reason why I say Pierce is a great one in the beginning is because if it's up against a wall, you can get up close to it and hit it with multiple, like a shotgun, hit it with more projectiles at once. It will also bounce off the wall and come back and hit him again. So right here I could be hitting him, 13, 14, rather than just 12, because it's bouncing off of that wall and hitting him again. I was just in a group doing a group build a little bit where I was shocking and giving the shock bonus magnitude, so that way the shock does more damage, other people do more damage. You can go with these later on. Conduction you can get early on, so that way you can shock more. Overcharge is a later skill, but it makes it so shock is higher magnitude, meaning that people do more increased damage. But the next ability that we're going to get as we go through is Flame Wall. It will look like this, except for yours will not have the skulls in the beginning. So you will have a little flame wall. It won't be a circle quite yet, and you'll come in it and it'll shoot your projectiles. And as you'll see right here, flame wall passes, projectiles pass through, dealing X to X amount of fire damage, as well igniting, doing X to X amount of fire damage. And the first one I would recommend for the support gem would be Fortress, and that's what makes it this circle, allowing it so you can come in here, shoot them, and you can spawn more than one. You can keep spawning them and keep shooting. So that way you can have more than one circle and keep freaking getting all your projectiles into fire. The other one I would recommend would be Intense Agony, and this just increase the amount of damage over time debuffs inflicted. Just more damage over time, right? So the burn does more burn. You can get Flame Wall off of a level 1 as well as a Spark off of level 1. And the Flame Wall you can get Fortress off of a level 1 and Intense Agony off of a level 2. So Spark, Pierce is level 1, Conduction level 2, or level 1 as well. Support gem this is. And then this one here, Overcharge, I believe is level 3. As well, yeah. Overcharge is a tier 3 support gem. So this is a tier 3 support gem. You'll see that there's also level 1, level 2. I have a tier level 3, so I can't get any of them, is all it means. The next thing up is as you get your spirit gem, let me pull up the map here. U is the map, not M. M is their shop. Right here, the King of Mists, after you kill this guy, you will get a skull in your inventory. Use that skull and you will get 30 spirit to be able to get your first spirit gem. You will get your spirit gem out of that skull, and the first one I would recommend would be Raging Spirits. This makes it so your wall now spawns little skulls, and it will help a little bit with the early game to help tank some of the monsters that are coming at you. For the support gems, I'd recommend Feeding Frenzy. This makes it so they deal 30% more damage. And yeah, they take 20% more damage, but they don't last long enough to where it truly matters. And the next up I'd recommend is Minion Instability. Now, I'm not 100% sure this one works, but they're low health, they're taking extra damage. If they can explode and do extra fire damage, that would be amazing. If this doesn't actually work, someone in the comments, please let me know. But that is what I went with as I was leveling up, and it made it very easy. So this should carry you through the good first portion of the game. Great for multi-target. As you get level 5 skill gems, right here I have a 14, so I can choose all the way to 13. But as you get different skill gems, you'll be able to choose new spells. When you get a tier 5 skill gem, level 5 skill gem, you can choose Arc. This is your single target spell, and it can chain lightning off onto other minions. So right here, deals X damage to X lightning, chains 4 times, 10% more damage to each remaining chain. The first one I would recommend is, let me see what levels we can get these at. Arcane Tempo. Arcane Tempo is a tier 1, so you will get Arcane Tempo as your first one. Elemental Focus is a tier 3, so we'll get Controlled Destruction next. And as you see, this will make it so you can no longer crit. So you need to make sure in your tier tree, do not pick up extra little crits. I know it seems tempting to get these extra crits in here. Please avoid them. We will show you how the skill tree should go. After we pick up Arc, this makes it so you're now able to single target heavier. I would still recommend go ahead and you can use this to clear out rooms until you get to the next one. I would go ahead and pick up would be Conductivity. This is why we only go lightning damage, no crit, because there are crit resistant monsters. This is your big ticket item. This will remove 34% lightning resist. It will cost heavy mana, but it is 100%. If you run into a lightning resist pack, this will stop you in your path, and you need this to get through it a lot of the times. Remember, you're single targeting with Arc, so if you go ahead and you hit a Conductivity, then you'll actually smoke whatever lightning resistance pack is in your way. The next up, as we're going through, I will say when I was leveling, I did try Contagion. You're more than welcome to try it as well. I just put it on the lower health minions and let it spread because it does more damage to each minion. It spreads up to 300%. So if you hit the small minion and it jumps 3 times onto a larger minion, that larger minion is now dying quick. I did go with Magnified Effect. This just makes it so it spreads further. And then Swift Affliction. This just makes it so it does more non-ailment damage, which I'm hoping, I'm not 100% sure, hoping that this, because it doesn't do any shock or bleed or ignite, this is increasing the damage as well. Someone in the comments might be able to tell me wrong on that. Not sure. It was something that I did when I was lower level. You don't need to use it if you're using your flame wall with your spirits. Up next is Mana Tempest. This is after you're probably past the first end of the game and you're going on to the second portion of the game. You're going to be using Arc a lot more. At some point, when you get level 9 gems, skill gem level 9, you will be able to get Mana Tempest. This empowers your lightning abilities to be able to chain further, as well as 66% increased lightning damage. This is why we're only going lightning damage, no crits. We are not doing crits with our Arc because this is to kill single target bosses. And when it comes down to it, you just put your Tempest down like this, and then you can cast out of it. And the longer you stand in it, what is going on with my mana right here? I am lagging. But as you stand in it, you will lose more and more mana. Sorry, my computer is having problems. But as you stand in it, you will lose more and more mana. But it can chain 2 times further. So this means that you can clear out large packs if you just go ahead and throw down your storm and go ahead and cast Arc. Next up, after Mana Tempest, would be your next Spirit Gems. After you get to well, this ain't a video about Spirit, so unfortunately I do not remember where you get the next Spirit. That's where you will be able to add the extra onto the Raging Spirits. But after you get done with the entire game now, so like I said, you should be able to mostly make it through the game all the way till the end with just this, and Arc, and Mana Tempest, and then Conductivity if their mana magic resistant, lightning resistant, or if it's a boss, go ahead and conductivity it. Last up, after you're done with the game and you have all your spirit, you can get 100 spirit. You'll switch out Raging Spirits, and you will get Arc Mage. This increases non-channeling spells as lightning damage for each mana that you have. So this is why we build heavy mana, as well as in your talent tree. We'll also show you where you build for mana. The last thing I do want to say is that inside of Arc, we are going to go for Controlled Destruction, which is, let me make sure. Controlled Destruction is tier 1. Arcane Tempo is also a good gem that's increased 25%. Sorry about that. Arcane Tempo is also tier 1. And these gems can be used in your Spark as you are leveling up. I would actually highly recommend using Arcane Tempo inside of Spark. As well as you could use Controlled Destruction. This is why, once again, we're not going for crits, because this right here makes it so we do 30% more damage, but we cannot crit with our ability. So Arc will hit very heavy versus anything that's not lightning resistance. And then when it comes down to it, we reduce their lightning resistance with conductivity. So into the late game now you have all of your gems: Arc Mage, Conductivity, you have Mana Tempest. You do not need Contagion very much anymore. So you are basically at this point, you should be able to just pop this and really arc them if you want, and you should be able to kill basically everything. Now as for what we are looking for on our gear, when you are early levels and you are leveling, a very important thing is +1 level to all spell skills. And I want you to try to find it on both. If you could find an early life sprig, very nice. You can get up to 3 or 4, I believe it's 3, plus all spell skills. As you see right there, this one's only 1 that I got. But my offhand also had 1, so I was +2. This is very good early on, as well as you will try to get it later game, but it's a decently hard one to get. It's only on your weapons. Next up, for the rest of the items, you're looking for mana mostly, then intel, which also gives you mana, and then mana regen, as well as cast speed helps with damage, spell damage, and lightning damage. Obviously, spell damage and lightning damage are on the weapons, and typically lightning damage will roll higher than spell damage. Now, obviously don't want critical spell damage bonus and critical damage crit percent chance. Neither of those are good. You want to look for, plus mana, plus cast speed if you're looking for damage, increase mana regeneration, and 10% of damage recouped as mana is not bad either, because you will take damage from here to there, so not a bad one to go for. That's it for the gear. In general, once again, it will go mana, intel, mana regen. Those are the highest 3 that you're looking for. And then for survivability, you will go for energy shield. Now there is a legendary item that is one of the best, seems like, energy shield items right now. It is a little ghostly robe. I will put a picture of it up on the screen. Other than that, that's it. You can get whatever you want. I don't know any other legendaries that go well with this build. If you know some, go ahead and comment them, and we'll add them on. But as for that, inside of the gear, I'm typically putting inside the sockets increased energy shield, increased mana regen. That's what we're going for. Mana, intel, mana regen, energy shield for survivability. That's it for the gear. As for the talent tree, when you are first going up and leveling up, you will start by going up here, and you got to get this right here. This lightning damage 18%. We're not going to shock very often, but lightning damage is what we're looking for. So 18% is a good one. And in the beginning, if you don't have energy shield, you won't actually take this path over here at all. So you'll go up here, and you'll actually go up here in the early game as far as you can go, straight up, get yourself whatever kind of gem you can get. I don't know how to get good jewels yet all the way, so this is the best I could find. And then you're going to go straight for this, as well as this is going to do increased damage per 10 intel. So this again is why we're just building intelligence, mana, damage, damage. Right here, we're going to go for this one next, which will penetrate light resistance and increase lightning exposure. This just means less lightning resistance, obviously, and exposure can put you past the maximum lightning resistance reduction. After you get these, you should be about done with the game. Next up, I would go ahead and recommend going over here and getting Arcane Surge. This increases your effect of your Arcane Surge, which is cast speed and mana regen. At this point, you're probably running out of mana every time you're in your storm casting Arc, because Mana Storm, Mana Tempest does drain your mana very quickly. So we're now going to start trying to get more mana regen. I would go ahead and grab these three. These are pretty high damage. So once you grab all three of these points, I would not go up here. We're not looking to penetrate element resistances. We're looking to get elemental damage plus 5. This is going to give us elemental resistance as well as elemental damage, attack speed with elemental skills, cast speed with elemental skills, elemental damage dealt. So I'm going to go, then after you're done and you're trying to get your mana back, next you're coming down here. Mana regen, mana regen, mana regen. This is a big one right here, 10%, and you recoup mana as you take damage. Once again, you will take damage every now and then, it's inevitable, and so you gotta grab it. Uh, Another one we need to come down and grab is after you get enough mana regen, or if you want more damage, you can come over here. And you might say, hey, I got enough mana regen on my gear. I don't need to come over here and grab this. And honestly, I think that I did grab this one later on. So if you want more damage, I got these as strength because I needed it for boots. Now, you don't need to grab strength. Always grab intel on every node that you don't know. If it becomes time that you need to change your spec and you need to put on a piece of gear that you're trying to get, and it has, let's say, great movement speed, that's a great thing. I will point out on boots, you want to make sure that you have movement speed. Movement speed on boots is very, very necessary. Please have movement speed on your boots. Other than that, you're still looking for mana, intel, mana regen. Increased energy shield, great. But as for back to the points, I only had strength here because I was putting a piece of armor on. But right here is the next one you're going to aim for. Increased mana skills all the way up to here. 3% of spell damage per 100 maximum mana. This is why we're building maximum mana. And once again, this is what I just got very last. This one here is actually better than going for this one here, or this one here actually. You can go for this one here, which will increase your maximum shield, as well as give you mana regen and intel. This is a great one to grab right after you get Arcane Surge even. I would probably, if I were to start over, I would go Arcane Surge, and then grab these three, and then grab this, and then grab this over here, and then grab this over here for the mana regen, and then, I mean, this is also damage if you really are going full damage. You'd grab this 25 intel. This is energy shield, so this is once you get energy shield going from this right here. So after you get this, I would come over here and I would get this, and then I would get this, and then I would get this. So from the start, I would go up here, all the way to here, up to here, grab this. This is a must. Then we're going to go over here, grab Arcane Surge. Then we're going to come up and grab our points. Then we're going to go back over here, and we're going to grab this here. Now at this point, you should drop these two. Hold your 18% lightning damage, because now you should have energy shield, get your faster energy shield, and start getting your maximum energy shield, regen, and intel. Then I would come up here, grab this here, 25 intel. We're still looking for damage. After damage, this is still mana, so I would come here, grab mana, which is damage. You need the regen anyway. This is giving you shield as well as mana for damage. Then I would come down, and if you're having real mana problem, now this is the point where you really get to choose, okay? Because if you're having mana problems, you should grab this next. If you're having life problems, you should grab this next. And if you have if you need more damage, then you should grab this next. But then you go ahead in any order after that. Let's say you go ahead and you want more mana, you grab that. Then you want more shield, boom, grab that. This gives you more damage as well if you want. And then this is the final, make sure that you got. This would be before these two here. These are the final 2 points I've put in so far. And, we're on maps, so you're into late game. At this point, you should be able to change your build to however you want. You can go ahead and go into your skills and maybe you wanted to do an Arc Spark build or a Spark build more, so you wanted to shock for your teammates and you wanted to make it so you cast faster. You could throw this and get rid of piercing. You're not trying to do a bunch of damage, you're just trying to hit everything. So now you're casting it much faster. And you can still put your Tempest down for your Arc or for your Spark. Remember, Mana Tempest does drain your mana, but other than that, we're getting frame drops at this point. So, we love you. I'll be back. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you got any questions, love to answer them. That should be all. Makes it easy. You're running up. You're pressing your Storm, your Mana Tempest, and then your Arcane. This is late game. All you do is Tempest and an Arc. And if it's a lightning resistance, conductivity. So you have 3 spells at late game. Conductivity for lightning resistance mobs or boss. Mana Tempest, Arc. That's all you need late game. And if it comes down to it and you wanted to change it up, you could still use your Flame Wall and your Spark. So late game, don't forget, you do want to make sure that you are Archmage as your spirit. You're using conductivity with persistence, giving it a larger skill effect duration, as well as increased curses effect. So Mana Tempest will be inspiration, costing less, and premeditation, increasing damage. Arc will be controlled destruction, arcane tempo, and elemental focus. Those are basically the only 4 that you need at this point. For late game, you should be able to clear. Remember, early game, you will use Flame Wall and Spark to get through any of the early game. I think that's kind of it. If you guys have any questions, please comment, like, and subscribe. Love you. Bye.